Hello there, and welcome back, Star Wars fans. The first 2 episodes of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series have finally dropped, and they were amazing. I felt horrible and depressed watching Obi-Wan fight against his Jedi impulse to help. I felt miserable with him.
The fight is done.
And I loved it.
We lost.
Today, I'll be breaking down the music in part 1. My name is Derek, and this is Star Wars Music Analysis.
Do it.
After the initial recap scene that I felt really helped this show have immediate continuity, we open on the Jedi Temple during Order 66, and this class of Padawans undergoing training. The music begins peacefully as everyone is unsuspecting of what is already unfolding. As the clone troopers break through the door though, the music immediately is interrupted just like the overall moment. As the scene continues through the halls of the Jedi Temple, the new energetic music keeps us on our toes by never staying with a consistent beat pattern. The meter seems to be changing almost every measure, which gives the audience a disorienting feeling, just like the single shot through the hallway, where we can't see everything that's happening behind us is doing as well. In addition to the meter changing, pulses within some of the measures are changing as well as we move between beats with 2 and 3 subdivisions. Where we hear beats of 2 and 3 subdivisions juxtaposed or put next to one another, and it offers a feeling of excitement and again, disorientation. In this excerpt, these are the beats that are receiving an extra 8th note. It keeps us unsure of what exactly will happen, just like this scene for these young Padawans. This scene acts as a prologue as we then get the Kenobi title card along with this highly anticipated theme by John Williams. This theme is going to come up a lot throughout this episode. Maybe even a little too much, but I'm going to explain how it's being used to give different references to the characters' thoughts and moods throughout. The next scene opens on Tatooine, and if you listen closely, the music incorporates what I believe is a doumbek, a type of Persian drum. I had to wear headphones actually to hear it. We also briefly hear a pungi, which is the instrument that many of us are most familiar with as the snake charmer instrument, and I'm very likely pronouncing these 2 instruments wrong. And again, I had to wear headphones to hear this, so if you don't hear it, go back with a good set of headphones and give it a listen. Both of these instruments, though, are from the Middle Eastern region in general, although the pungi goes into India and much further east as well, giving Tatooine the feeling that we already recognize it to have as being away from the colonial civilizations like Europe or the Inner Core and full of instability. As the Inquisitor's ship flies in, lands, and the Inquisitors step off, we hear this low, deep motif in the brass, and while I haven't seen this confirmed yet, I believe that this is a new theme for the Inquisitors. The Rebels TV show introduced a different theme for the Grand Inquisitor by Kevin Kiner, so this may be replacing it, which would be a shame, or it could be for the entire Inquisitorius. In either case, it moves almost opposite of the original Grand Inquisitor's theme and begins by outlining a minor triad in descending order and then going back and going a half step lower on the last note, creating an augmented triad, which notably is the same chord heard as Vader is first seen on screen in A New Hope, albeit in the opposite direction. I really like this simple but effective leitmotif, and I hope that it gets explored more in future episodes than it did in this opening chapter. And I know this isn't music, but
you'll never find Ahsoka.
He just said Ahsoka, right?
You'll never find Ahsoka.
Tell me in the comments below if you think we'll see a 20s-something Ahsoka later in this series, and how cool would that be? The scene then cuts out to the desert and this sea-like creature being cut apart for food. And I don't think it's a Purrgil, but if anyone knows what the name of this creature is, let me know in the comments down below, because I don't remember ever seeing this, especially in live action. As we see the face of our presumed hero, we hear the Kenobi theme, giving us the impression of his goodness and heroic desires. But the theme quickly turns sad as we grasp Kenobi's situation and the environment that he is actually in. He isn't the hero that we knew him to be. He's become a nobody by choice, and he must fight against his urge to help and protect. As we follow Obi-Wan, his theme keeps re-emerging, and the leaning on not just brass, but also the lush strings and especially the woodwinds has been a refreshing return to earlier sounds of the Star Wars scores. And while this is a darker, more percussive and soundscape-driven score than Williams would have done, it nevertheless has felt true to the sound of Star Wars so far, and I really appreciate and respect Natalie Holt for her work on this show. Later, Kenobi is approached by the Jawa named Tika, who happens to be selling Obi-Wan his own parts. But as Tika talks about the Jedi in the market and Kenobi listens, his music plays, but without his theme. To me, this is a representation that he is not really himself anymore, and he continues to push down his urges to do something. His theme, like his spirit, is hidden, while the progression, like his body, continues to exist. He's hiding behind the background, going on unnoticed and as a shell of its own self. And as we continue to follow Obi-Wan, we do again hear his theme, and this was the area of the show where I felt like the theme began to get overused in such a short period of time. My hope is that they do start incorporating other themes more as we go along, though I understand that right now the goal is to drive that theme home and to make it feel as natural to his character as possible, since it didn't exist for the first 45 years of Kenobi's on-screen existence. As Kenobi is approached in the desert by the Jedi outcast Nari, I couldn't help but feel this horn solo was intentionally set almost completely by itself, with only soft strings behind it. This is symbolizing Kenobi's isolation and refusal to join with anyone. Ultimately, we know it's for the safety of Luke, but his abandonment of Nari is certainly what leads to the Jedi's eventual capture and killing. The show quickly changes moods then as we jump to Alderaan and our most detailed look yet at the planet and its capital city of Alderaan. It's gorgeous and beautiful, and the upbeat music here perfectly reflects that. And this may also be introducing us to the theme of Alderaan, which if so would be this theme. And the minimalism feeling, which actually reminded me a bit of Steve Reich's Music for 18 Musicians, does a great job of reflecting the design aesthetic of the Alderaan interiors as well, which are also very minimalistic. The music later as Leia runs off into the forest becomes extremely Disney in feeling, and I can't quite place the movie, but I think this sounds very familiar. Perhaps Lion King or one of the more recent films? Let me know in the comments if you had a similar vibe here or if it reminded you of any movie. It works, but it also pulled me out of the Star Wars universe with its use of polychords. As Leia runs out again though, she's met by a bounty hunter, and to many of us, this is a surprisingly familiar face because in our own galaxy, this is the face of Flea, the bassist for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Interestingly, this is the second time just this year that we've gotten a famous bass player acting in a Star Wars show, with the first time being the appearance of Thundercat as the cyborg surgeon in the book of Boba Fett. And while Thundercat's role was to help the protagonist, Boba Fett, and brings the female character Fennec Shand back, Flea's character serves the opposite role of taking the girl and helps the antagonist Reva.
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
But Leia proves difficult to catch, or at least difficult for the two most uncoordinated bounty hunters in the entire galaxy. What is this? But during this chase, we again hear the effect of a hemiola. This time, far more subdued as the meter changes pulses between what's felt as a 6/8 and a 3/4 measure. We then get more moments with Kenobi as he returns later to his home security system, which appears to be an R2 unit submerged in the sand. Poor little guy. The music cue becomes mysterious and a bit dark, foreshadowing an unwanted intruder. The descending minor second followed by the minor chord paired with this glissandi in the strings gives us a feel of unease, intrigue, and mystery. The suspense builds slightly until Bail Organa removes his hood and we end up on an unresolved cadence. This allows the tension to dissipate while also still remaining in our subconscious because it's still an unwelcome guest after all. By the end of their meeting though, Bail has won Kenobi over, and while this is never stated in the scene, we can hear his theme return and build once more into a bigger, more heroic tone, especially as Bail says, "One last fight." This is immediately followed by a very Williams-esque build-up as the scene concludes, something that is, in many ways, uniquely special to Star Wars. It's a great way to transition a scene while maintaining tension and energy in the storyline. At the end of the episode, we see this decision by Kenobi come to fruition as he approaches the spaceport. We hear another half cadence as we wait for his final decision to cross that threshold into danger. The strings hang on, maintaining the suspense. The music then builds once more, and we get the most powerful and heroic occurrence of Ben's theme yet, as he walks to the freighter and his destiny. The music ends with yet another half-cadence build-up, and most people probably missed this, but this is exactly how every movie in the Skywalker saga ends as well, with this big build-up to a half-cadence and then immediately into the end credits. And while we don't get Luke's theme here, because that wouldn't entirely make sense, the nostalgic feeling is the same, and we hear Kenobi's theme play us out. Overall, the music itself was just what I hoped and expected for. There were some slight weak points, but overall, this is a very well put together show with an incredible director, storyline, and music as well. My hat is off to you, Natalie Holt, and I can't wait to see what else you and Deborah Chow have in store for us in the upcoming weeks. But now I want to hear from you. Is there anything else you heard that I missed? And tell me what you thought of this opening episode. Did you like the music? Did it give you any sense of nostalgia? I'll be releasing another video in a couple of days that will break down episode 2 as well, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And before you go, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to learn more about the music of the galaxy far, far away. And as always, may the be with you.